Welcome to our podcast, Charting the Course, presented by Emmanuel Church Apostolic Community. Our podcast will be presented by gifted teachers that are called, anointed, and appointed to expound upon the Word of God. We will be discussing various topics that are relevant to living a holy life today according to the Word.
Welcome to another episode of Charting the Course podcast. My name is Kim Charlotte, and I am here with Nicole Austin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. We are talking about stress and anxiety today. So the last time we talked, we were talking about, how to recognize that we are in a stressful state and how to recognize when it's moved on to the next level, which was anxiety. We went over some definitions of stress and anxiety. Now we want to kind of talk about what are some of the physiological, results of stress and anxiety on our bodies.
Well, for one, I know about stress, like sometimes your hair may fall out, or that's when you get more grays. Grays happen naturally anyways, but sometimes they happen just based off of stress. You'll find yourself maybe with a little worry lines, just things happen like that. It's just like little small telltale signs as far as on our body, and that can cause, issues with your heart. Like how you go to the doctor, sometimes they give you that stress test because they cannot understand why you may be having like issues with your heart or just some type of physical ailment, right? And that also can cause issues such as, I don't know, I know for high blood pressure, that's another one. I know you can speak to that, you being a nurse. Stress can cause such things like that. I know me personally, I went to the doctor, my blood pressure was so high and they just could not figure it out. So did all the tests and then they just was like, you are stressed. So that means you have to do certain things, like, eliminate things that are causing stress over your life. And I think that's one of the things you can do with it. As far as anxiety, like I said, you just have to make those steps to ensure that you are not overthinking, over-processing, and that's a process in itself. Even sitting down with a therapist, they will ask you questions like, well, what are you thinking about most of the time?
Okay.
And they'll have you sit down and do the work. Like you may have an assignment to do. You may have to write stuff down or learn what your triggers are. Because in order for you to know how to eliminate something, you have to know exactly what it is that's triggering you. That's why they say God, he deals with the root thing. Because if he gets the root and he pulls it up, that means that thing is going to die. So, that's how you can pretty much deal with anxiety. Just doing the work and knowing what triggers you, and then you move on from that.
For me, you tell me if this is a good thing, but for me, I'm a journaler. And so when I look back at some of my journal entries, I can tell when I was having a stressful day because my writing is different and I'm just like flying off the handle with all of my thoughts. And then I can look at a peaceful day and it's just a beautiful, beautiful page per se. Right. Would you suggest journaling?
Absolutely, I suggest journaling. I mean, because I'm like you said, especially when you're going through something, sometimes it's good to just get it out of you. I don't do it that often, but when I do that. Sometimes it's horrendous. And then sometimes I have my moments where I'm just happy and I'll be like, oh, I just feel like writing today. And then I notice that I'm more goal oriented when I'm writing on the positive days. Like I have these great ideas and I just, and it's different. But when I'm stressed out, the pages are negative. There are no goals present. It's just,
okay.
So it's good to have those things to write down. You get it out of you. And sometimes you write those things down and you may not look at it anymore. And then as time goes by, you can look back at the stuff and you'll be like, that was so, what was I tripping about? So it's a good thing to journal for sure.
What's some other tools that we could use?
Let's see. I don't know. Like I said, exercising is a good coping mechanism. Changing your eating habits, because sometimes certain foods cause you to feel more like draggy, not as energetic, can cause cloudy minds. So I believe that changing your diet, exercise, and like I said, doing health things like journaling, finding a new hobby is also something that works. Sometimes it does distract you a little bit, but I do believe that those are like simple things that you can do to, and it sounds cliche, but honestly, if you do them consistently, it does work. And I remember times where I used to do it like boom, boom, boom. And you'd be like, everything be so smooth sailing because you're clear minded. And if you're praying to God, you can hear him a little bit clearly. And you just incorporate all those factors, even if you have to sit with a therapist just to keep your mind on track as well, it works. But when you fall off of that, you start to see a decline, but you have to have a habit of doing it and be consistent, you know what I'm saying? Like, just keep doing it.
So let me switch gears a little bit because this question just popped into my mind. Maybe someone's watching out there. I know for a fact that there are some instances where as your stress you can't change your environment or a situation that you may find yourself in. For someone who is stressed out by external factors, I guess I'll say, they're not personally stressed, but maybe they're in a abusive relationship, maybe financially money's just where it is, and they may be facing eviction or whatever the case might be. When someone may be really, really stressed by external factors, is there any type of a way they can make their way through that maze to get themselves out of that?
Each situation is different, even especially if you're talking about abuse and they're in an abusive relationship. That's something that has to be navigated. If that person wants to leave out of that situation, then of course they can seek the outside help. And afterwards, whenever they're dealing with that stress or the anxiety, because you're talking about abuse, you're going to end up with stress, anxiety. It can even it cause depression, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's a variety of things that can come out from being in an abusive relationship. And I cannot give a really concrete answer for that because sometimes it is a case by case, but I can tell you, if you are in an abusive relationship, please seek counsel, please seek shelter, especially if you plan on leaving. And also, sometimes everything is not immediately where you have to leave that situation. Sometimes you're unable to do that, but please get with somebody who will help you and lead you and guide you in that direction in your abuse. I can say that.
I was just going to add, for folks who have financial hardships, lack of food resources, lack of childcare resources. These are all those external things that causes stress that a person didn't bring it on. It's not an internal thing that you're just stressed out over. Right. It's your environment. There are so many resources out there, and even our seniors sometimes they experience a lot of stress because of lack of care and things that they need. So, we wanted to kind of talk about stress and anxiety because there's so many different there's so many there's so
many factors with it. And it's sometimes really on a case by case. And as far as like the food and the shelter, once again, there are lots of resources. You can go to your local churches. Please look up like social services. Just contact people to make sure that you're doing. Churches will definitely help you for sure, but they also have other external resources that will also assist with that. Because sometimes when you do not have that bottom, that have your personal needs, and sometimes God can't work on the rest. Like it's really hard, and that's the same way in the psychology world. Once you have your basic needs met, that's when the rest can be worked on. That's why when some people, they stress themselves out, they have anxiety about losing shelter. But God always tells us, take no thought for tomorrow. He's going to feed you, clothe you, and shelter you. And yes, we know that it doesn't ideally look like how it may look like how you may sit in a house and you're like, oh, all my bills are paid. For somebody else, they may be in the shelter. Right. They may have to go to the food bank. They may have to get, supplemental income or things of that nature. But the bottom line is God said that he's going to take care of you, that you don't have to think about those things. You got to trust in him and believe that he's going to provide for you. Absolutely. And that will, over time, your anxiety and your stress would alleviate because you trust what you know and you trust what's been told to you, and you can move forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So feel encouraged. I encourage you, if you are going through stress and anxiety, talk to somebody. Tell one person, and with that one person may be that step that helps you to get a step closer to coming out of that stress and anxiety. Again, I'm Kim Charlotte, and this is Nicole Austin. We are charting the course. Join us next time. Thank you for tuning in today to our Charting the Course podcast segment. We welcome your comments, questions, or any topics you would like to have answers to. Join us next time as we continue to chart the course according to the Word of God.